Hey guys, so these videos are just in case I go into labor early. So right now my plan is for my last day to be on Thursday, April 18th, but you never know. It may happen earlier, so that's why I'm recording these videos and I'll get as far as I can ahead between today and next week. So let's look at your calendar first. So whoever is subbing for me today should have this calendar handed out to you. So this is our vectors calendar. Notice how it's only 4 units. So that's kind of nice. It's only not 4 units, 4 lessons. So it's kind of a shorter unit. We are going to cover all things vectors. And just so you know, Mrs. Wilk, there won't be any videos for these 2 lessons, the 23rd or 24th. Because Mrs. Wilkes will be here. She's my long-term sub. She's the one that's taught pre-cal even longer than I have. So she knows her pre-cal in and out. Trust me, you are in good hands. This used to be her room. She is a pro, okay? So she'll be here for these 2 lessons, which is why there's not videos for those 2 lessons. But I will get these 2 lessons for you. So today we're going to cover magnitude and direction in component form and IJ form. Just so you know, looking ahead, you do have a 4-day weekend coming up. So how fun is that? A last little break before we get to final exams. There will be a comm check on Thursday, April 25th. So make sure you're ready for that with your group. It is all calculator. So remember, all the units after or in the 4th 9 weeks is calculator. There was a planned pre-cal post-knowledge check, but that is canceled. This is the day of blood drive. Okay, I'm going to recommend that if you plan on giving blood, sign up during this class period because all this is going to become is review day 1. Okay, so if you don't get the review on the 25th, you will get it on the 26th. And then on the 29th, that'll just be review day 2. So all you'll be missing on Friday is a work day in class. Probably won't even be going over any questions. And then Mrs. Wilkes will come on Monday the 29th and actually answer questions from your comm check and your review. Okay, and then you have your vector test on the 30th. So using the packets that you got today, or if you haven't, we need to get those from the sub today. So using your packets, we are going to be on page 2. So in this, I'll go ahead and zoom in. Just want to make sure you can see my face one last time. Okay, so on page 2, we are going to cover magnitude, direction, component form, and IJ form with vectors. So this is kind of a nice little intro into vectors. So there's 2 notations we'll use for vectors. It'll either have this little kind of ray bar above it, or we'll just bold the letter. Okay, we're not too picky about that when we're grading, but just know both of those mean that you have a vector. Component form is when we use these nice little triangle brackets. So you're going to see a lot of those in these next 4 lessons. So component form is kind of just like slope. Okay, it's change in x over change in y. Well, it's not over change in y. It's the change in x comma change in y. So you would do x2 minus x1 comma y2 minus y1, which we'll practice a lot with that today. But then there's also IJ form. IJ form is using some unit vectors where I is a unit vector at 0 degrees and J is a unit vector at 90 degrees. That'll make more sense once we find direction. But all you do, instead of writing it in what I'd call, I guess, your triangle brackets, so -1 comma 1, it'd be written as -1I plus 1J, where I and J are just the horizontal and vertical unit vector. So let's go ahead and practice with this. So over here is graph vector V. So that's vector V, okay? So let's find the slope of V. So remember, slope is rise over run. So the rise over run. The rise is 1, 2, 3 up, so it'd be +3. And the run is 2 to the right, so it'd be +2. So believe it or not, what we've just found is the vector, okay? When you find the slope of a line segment, you are finding a vector, okay? So to write this in component form, remember it's the change in x. So the change in x was right 2. So that's +2. So right 2. And then up 3. So since you went up 3, it's +3. And by me putting them in these nice little triangle brackets, that is your component form. Okay, so to change that to ij form, you would just put 2 in front of an I, and then plus, because 3 is positive, 3 in front of a j. And that's your ij form. So that's vector. That's a vector in a nutshell. Okay, but we're going to do more with it than that. But first, let's practice that one more time. So for number 2, given the vector AB, so we start at A and we end at B. That is kind of important that you guys know whichever letter I list first is the starting, whichever letter is last is the ending point. Okay, so given the vector AB, we're going to answer the questions. So the initial point is the starting point. So the initial point is A, and the coordinates of that point, let's see, is 1, comma, -2. Okay. The terminal point. So the terminal point is where you end, and we'll talk a lot more about this tomorrow. So the terminal point is B, and the coordinates of B, 1, 2, 3. So 3 to the left, so -3, comma, 2. Oops. So that's the coordinates of point B. So to write AB in component form, you could find the slope between there, or you can just count because you have the graph. So from A, I went 1, 2, 3, 4. So 4 units to the left. That's why I'm going to say -4. And then I went 1, 2, 3, 4. So I went 4 units up, which is why I'll call it +4. Signs do matter. So you have to have the correct sign in order to get full credit. And then to change that to ij form, you would just do -4i plus 4j. So that is your vector. So to sum this all up, sometimes we will give you 2 points and not a graph, but you need to pay attention on the order. So we're going to find the component and the ij form of vector PQ. So PQ is going from P to Q. Okay, so that matters. So what I do between these is find the slope. So P to Q. So P would be my x1, y1, and Q would be my x2, y2. So finding the slope, I would do y2 minus y1. So -4 minus 2. Once again, this order does matter. And then x2 minus x1. So 8 minus 3. That's how I get -6 over 5. So I'm going from P to Q. So you do Q minus P. So to find the component form. So the component form, let's see, it's going to be your run because it's x, right? So how much you move left or right, which is +5. And then your your rise, which is -6. So the order matters, right? Component form, you have to do how much you went left or right. Well, that's my run, which is x, and -6 is my rise, which is y. So I went right 5 and then down 6. And you could even count that between the 2 points. That wouldn't be too hard to do. And then ij form is going to be 5i and then minus 6j. And that is a vector. So we're going to go ahead and stop there. This is a good stopping point, and we'll finish up with magnitude and direction of vectors in the second video for this lesson. So go to the next video.